If you were one of the 700 or so unsuspecting motorists driving westbound on Volmer Road on a recent Friday night, you ran into a situation like this. It's a roadside safety check being conducted in Flossmoor with the cooperation of several other law enforcement agencies. On this night, every sixth car was pulled aside.
Just have your driver's license and proof of insurance.
Most of the time, officers run your driver's license, check for proper insurance, registration, and a few other vehicle safety matters, and then you can be on your way. The whole process takes less than a minute and a half, if you've done nothing wrong. Most of the drivers here tonight just get waved right on by. But for an unlucky few, these officers you see behind me are ready to ticket for DUIs, people not wearing their safety belts. And it just so happened when they ran one guy in tonight, not only did he not have his license, insurance card, but it just so happened he had a few outstanding warrants on him, too. After telling police that he was from another state, a quick check of the computer revealed that that was not the case at all. Police then took him into custody and began to find out the real truth.
He didn't have his driver's license with him, so he was run on the computer, and not only is his driver's license currently suspended, he's wanted on a traffic warrant for not appearing in court for driving on a suspended driver's license.
All because he took the wrong road.
All because he took the wrong road and had the misfortune of being in the right place at the right time.
Finding drivers under the influence was one of the main focuses of the night. They got just that in this man. He failed the roadside sobriety test, as well as blowing well above the .10 legal limit. On the night, 194 cars were stopped. 64 traffic tickets were issued. 2 people were arrested on outstanding warrants. 1 person was taken into custody for driving while under the influence, and 22 others were cited for seatbelt violations. And if you thought about turning around at the top of the hill, think again. In Flossmoor, Ben Bradley for Viking Television News. From the cut and paste to writing, the 20 or so students who put together the bi-monthly Voyager know that it's not an easy task. The 4-section paper is completely student-run, right down to the deadline.
Job entails editing stories, making sure all the stories and pictures go in on time, editing pages, basically making the feature section interesting for the students to read.
In the first week of production, reporters research and write their stories and then turn them into editor-in-chief Tricia Carey, oftentimes working through their lunch hours to meet a deadline. The staff then receives their stories back on what are called galleys. From there, they revise, proof, and edit their stories. Paste-ups are then made outlining what each page will eventually look like. Editorial writer Lauren Diamond has a few ideas on how to improve the Voyager.
I really believe that students should put their input and tell us what they feel bothers them and what the editorial staff or any other section should write about.
News, editorial, feature, and sports. It's all covered by the award-winning student newspaper, The Voyager. Ben Bradley for Viking Television News. The next time this engine rolls, it may very well have 2 HF students aboard as part of the Homewood Fire Department cadet program. Seniors Tom Walsh and Steve McKinnon are learning rescue and firefighting techniques for a possible future career with the Homewood Department. On a recent Saturday afternoon, they learned the skills necessary to rescue a victim who has fallen through the ice. Firefighter-paramedic Tim Hall gave the cadets a few quick pointers, and then it was time to go out on the ice and practice what they had learned. One of the cadets played the role of victim, and the rescue was set to begin. McKinnon stayed low as he made his way out to Walsh for the rescue attempt. Once in the water, he slips the rope around Walsh, gives the signal, and the 2 wait to be pulled to shore.
What did you think of that rescue?
Oh, it was great. I like learning about things like that. It's an experience you won't get from anything else. great experience. It's a lot of fun to be in the department. Everybody's cool, and you always learn cool things. This isn't like a fake thing.
This is just one of 12 or 13 different types of rescues these two students are learning, and oddly enough, they say this is one of the easiest. Ben Bradley for Viking Television News. Fire raged through this house and garage on Holbrook Road in Homewood on a recent Sunday afternoon. The smoke rose into the air as all of Homewood's fire equipment was put into action. There is, however, one important detail to remember. Believe it or not, the blaze you see behind me is under control. It was set with the purpose of training and exercise for veterans of the Homewood Department, as well as our two fire cadets, Steve Mackinnon and Tom Wall. As part of the Homewood Fire Cadet Training Program, they are participating in drills like this and the one several months ago we told you about with ice rescues in a frozen lake. The seriously deteriorated house made for a great location to apply classroom learning with real-life experience. Before the garage was set on fire, Mackinnon and Walsh practiced rescues from smoke-filled rooms. Non-toxic smoke provided a realistic atmosphere for the exercise. Easy enough, right? Well, here's the scene from the inside.
Here's the wall back here. Yeah, and here's the couch. Just follow the couch.
And finally, they found their way out with their victim. Then it was time to go 30 feet above the scene.
5 people just went in, put it out, and as you can see, smoke has just changed colors. Now it's more white, matching all the steam from the water. Just get the fire here. You might be able to hear the water shifting in all the fires.
But remember, it was all just for practice. Ben Bradley for Viking Television News. They've traveled from across the galaxy, and for me it was a journey to a place I had never gone before. Trekkers descended upon Harvey, bringing with them costumes and equipment from the 24th century to our frontier. To convention-goers, Star Trek is much more than just a TV show. For some, it's a way of life, and others, it's a new way of family bonding. They come in all ages, shapes, and sizes. What you say, you have nothing to wear? Never fear, they'll sell it to you here. For one HF senior, it's serious business. Van Stedman travels across the Midwest to conventions like these. He started his own business selling Star Trek paraphernalia and just about anything else from a century still to come. It's transformed from a booth to a mail-order business for Zan, and it's something that he hopes will materialize into real money for him, regardless of who it's from. In Harvey, Ben Bradley for Viking Television News.
It's so cute. I'll talk to you about Mr. Stranger, okay?
Poking fun at other guest lecturers throughout, the duo tackled problems of self-esteem, peer pressure, date rape, sexual harassment, and respect, just to name a few. They kept the audience entertained as well as informed.
Something funny, but you got something to laugh about? Hurricanes and drugs and crime, and there will eat you up and spit you off the thing.
Serious moments prevailed, however, as Dan and Marie addressed the future and every person's individual role in it. From the tree hugger to the accountant, they all play an important part.
Some of you are supposed to take care of the homeless. You're a 90s team. You're charged to take care of the homeless. Some of you don't care about the homeless. And there's nothing wrong with not caring as long as you're not hurting someone else. You don't have to go out and start your own homeless shelter or your own racial judgment thing or start some sexual harassment clinic or program. Each and every one of you are going to change the world in your own way.
Taking on sexual harassment.
The white guy says, hey, baby. Black guy says, yo, mama. Hispanic guy says, mamacita bonita.
Using common occurrences to drive their point across, the team leaves their audiences thinking as well as smiling. Ben Bradley for Viking Television News. Political season is once again upon us. No, not presidential politics. This one's worse. Chock full of tacky posters and the like, student elections mimic the big guys closely. Some use their incumbency, and others just their good luck. The thing to do this year seems to be endorsement. The push to jump on the bandwagon ranges from something as simple as a Pepsi can, goes straight past hot rock stars and their groupies, to a former president. Candidates, let me drop you a little hint. It's on page 367 of your Warner's book, and it's called Spelling. Look closely at the word sophomore on this poster. We'll just put the O in for you. Don't worry, one of your fellow politicians did the same thing. This guy wants to become treasurer of the Senor class, whatever that is. But not to worry, the treasurer doesn't have to know how to spell. That's the secretary's job, right?
So how do you feel standing next to your very own campaign poster and knowing that you spelled paperweight wrong on it?
I didn't write that.
But you put it up.
I know. My friend wrote it.
He's got the true political spirit anyway. Ben Bradley for Viking Television News. What do you do when economics is a required course, but there's no one who knows enough about it to teach it? That was the case in the former Russian city of Leningrad, now called St. Petersburg. What American students have been getting for years, Russian students are just now beginning to learn. The market economic system. Thanks to some American teachers, the Russians are starting to overcome their problems.
Well, there are not a lot of people who understand free market economics in Russia. So, in effect, they need to bring in U.S. professors. We did team with two...
Morton was showing Russia's teachers how to conduct classes in their own high schools, explaining the workings of a capitalistic society. He says the teachers were very eager to learn.
They were very intelligent teachers. They learned very quickly. Often, at their request, we'd come back after dinner and teach maybe from 8 to 9:30.
It was a trip which benefited both Morton as well as his Russian counterparts. Ben Bradley for Viking Television News.
After that much of...
If you can't tell already, the future has arrived at HF. How do you know for sure? Well, here's a telltale sign. The Star Trek Club is the newest addition to the student government roster of chartered clubs. Math teacher Mr. Kenneth Tesser sponsors the new organization and gives us a little insight into what they'll be doing.
Well, mostly we're just going to get together and find out what kind of interest there are. There's many Star Trek conventions going on throughout the year, and if they have an interest in that, maybe we'll go to some Star Trek conventions.
And how would one go about starting such a club?
Well, a couple of students came to me and were interested in starting up a Star Trek club because many of them were involved in a comic book club, and they read Star Trek-related material. Others are just watch the show all the time. And they expressed that they really didn't have any kind of organized way to meet other people and that during the school day. And
their first meeting was yesterday, and it was a success. They'll continue to see each other every Monday after school in room G27. Ben Bradley for Viking Television News. With the simple click of a mouse button, anything can become reality. And it did just that for junior Sneha Patel.
Well, it was a project for my special projects in drafting class, and it was the whole project was to draw the facade of the school, the perspective.
Sounds easy enough, but look at the finished product. And now compare it with the real thing. Because her rendition was so spectacular, the drawing will appear with this year's diploma.
She set it all up, developed that perspective that you see up there from the two-dimensional ones that were given to us by the architect.
And what's her teacher think?
She's outstanding.
You can see it for yourself on this year's diploma. Ben Bradley for Viking Television News.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her till today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, it's right in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her till today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her till today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
We arrived at Washington's National Airport early Friday morning to meet our Honor Guard escorts. The action never slowed down. Our first stop, the White House. After walking through the executive home, we posed for a quick picture and boarded our trolley and headed for the mall. With the nation's capital as a backdrop, we toured a lot of the equipment that brought a quick win to our troops in Operation Desert Storm.
I
The next morning, it was time to pay tribute to the families who lost loved ones in the service of their country. We attended a memorial service where we laid a wreath to honor those servicemen and women who died during Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm.
Lonely, fear lights up the sky. Can't help but wonder why you're so far away. There, you have to take a stand in someone else's land. Life can be so strange.
As Woodrow Wilson said, war is a dramatic symbol of 1,000 forms of duty. The enemies of peace, the brutal aggressors, could not match the combined prayers of 250 million Americans and the collective courage of 500,000 troops who knew that aggression must not stand.
After attending the memorial service, it was time to kick back and celebrate the Allied victory in the Gulf with a parade down Constitution Avenue and a special picnic for returning servicemen and women. After a busy day, it was time for our final night in Washington, and what a night it was. The USO put on a Star-Spangled Spectacular featuring Barbara Mandrell. On Sunday, it was time to head for home. We'll never forget our trip to Washington, nor the men and women of Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm.
Thank you.